Well, good morning to you wherever you are. Sorry for the late start. And well, we're here. Let me hope you guys had a pleasant day yesterday because it's now after midnight and you're all ready for a little chat, a little heart to heart chat tonight or this morning. Welcome you wherever you are. And if you're on, you would like to have this information shared, please tag someone, tag everybody. Just share it live and let's get cracking. I'll get cracking in a while when we have a few more persons on. Like I said, we have some things to discuss this morning, and mainly we're going to be discussing whose responsibility it is to care for our children, and also we'll be discussing a situation where an Indian couple sued their only son for not giving them a child. So we're touching on that part of things, children and childbearing and what's a child's duty? Where does the duty end? What obligation they have to their parents or grandparents? That should be some interesting discussion there. So this is Heart to Heart. I'm all old George Daniel, and we will be talking some serious stuff and also some light stuff. So we're gonna mix it up, if you know what I mean. So wherever you are this morning, very good morning to you. I hope to have my co-host joining me, but there's some technical difficulties and we're not able to connect. But we'll have some other persons joining us throughout the course of this program. So hopefully you'll jump in. So if you have, I suppose you would have had your questions ready and your comments. Of course, you guys are aware of what's been happening in St. Vincent. Dealing with the uh, reference to the violence that been taking place. What's happening with our children, what's happening to our women, and so we're going to try to make some sense of it. And there are a lot of people who have a lot of questions and they're not sure as to which direction, you know, to go. Sure what to do. A lot of parents not sure as exactly what do they want from me as a parent, as to how to parent. So we're going to be shedding some light on that as well. All right. So I want to just wait a while and see for a few persons to come on. Monty, good morning. Of course, Monty is bringing this through Be Hill Network as well. Monty, thank you very much for that service. So when you come on, you can just come on and let us know where you're listening from, where you're watching from. And of course, your whole royal spiciness is on. Spicy, good morning. Boy, we have a lot of royalties on this morning, boy. Yeah, Queen Spicy is on, and we have Monty the Veteran is on. We're going to be talking some serious stuff. So I'm sure you will have seen the main topic that we're going to be discussing. And so I'm asking the question, throwing the question out as to whose responsibility it is to care for children. I expect to have a very special guest on, two special guests on with me this morning. And so when they have their stuff cleared up, they're going to be joining me. I spoke to one of them earlier. They were having some problems logging in. So soon as that's cleared up, I guess I'm not going to say who he is, but he's a very special person, very knowledgeable, on the topic that we're going to discuss this morning. And if there's anything else you want to discuss that's on your mind, that's on your heart, just let me know, and maybe we can go and do that. In the meantime, and in between time, whose responsibility it is to care for our children? Ah, boy, our children have been getting a very rotten deal so far. Very, very rotten deal. This is my personal opinion. And I've spoken about this before, many, many years ago, and wasn't quite sure who was listening. But I've pointed to this fact before. Our children have been getting a very rotten deal. I've addressed many PTAs in St. Vincent, dealing with parenting and the disciplining of children and all of that. And I've had very mixed reaction, very, very mixed reaction. And but I've lived long enough to see, the backlash stemming from our inaction, you know, refusal to do the necessary things to steer our children in the right direction. We've suffered. We're now getting the backlash. And if we continue in this direction, if we continue in this vein, you're not paying special attention to our children and to their well-being, their welfare. It's not going to get better. So, question is, what should we do? What should we do? What approach should we take? Many may differ on approaches. That's okay. But at least let us have a discussion. Even if you differ, let's have a discussion. Let's have your input. What are your suggestions? Uh, Monty, I didn't know that. Monty's saying a gunman went to St. Mary's School on Wednesday. That's news to me. That's something new. I don't know. Things are piling up. Things are piling up. When you go away on vacation, you leave your office, you go away for a month vacation, you come back, and you meet everything that's in one huge pile waiting for you to deal with, and you're not quite sure as to where to start. I think this is the situation right now. Things are piling up. Issues are piling up on top of each other. So one place to know where we can start, we can have have a consensus, a plan. We can prioritize. And if you're going to prioritize, I think the children are supposed to be top of that priority list. At least that's what I think. So I hope nothing bad happened today. I mean, on Wednesday, yeah, Wednesday it was. Hope nothing bad happened on Wednesday. That that Irish school incident. Didn't hear about it, so I can't really comment on it. Yeah. But what I heard about is that that young girl who was, heaped in a crocus bag and left for whomever to find. I heard about that little boy, who was found in the car. I don't know what was the cause of death. I don't have any information as to that. But what I know is that, and what is factual is that he died, young boy. Allegedly, I think he was 7 years old. It's been said. I'm hearing the age 7 years being tossed about. That's a tragedy, and every one of us is supposed to be concerned about that. That should worry every single one of us. I mean, if you are a parent, that should give you nightmares. If you're not a parent, you're still supposed to have sleepless nights. You know, just imagine that young boy is in that car. You don't know what caused death, but things would have gotten so bad physically with him. At some point, he knew he was going to die. He was left there to die in the middle of. Well, I think that was in the village. How could this happen? Where were the gatekeepers? Where were the watchmen? Who was keeping watch? That's what I'm asking myself. How could this have escaped the eyes, the view of everyone? No one saw this boy walking about the village. No one saw him being homeless. No one saw him being hungry. No one saw him being in need of shelter. No one saw him being in need of food. No one saw him. Um, no one knew he was not going to school. Nobody knew the school didn't miss him. The school did not miss him. I know usually when a child is not going to school, I think every day there's a registered marked, present, absent. What happens after a child is not present for 3 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, 1 month? What's the procedure? Maybe someone can enlighten me. I know what happens here. I know what happens here. Because, as a matter of fact, when I was working up in Nunavik, that's in the Arctic, North Canada, Canada's north, I worked at a health center. I was the lone social worker in a village, small village. It has one school, one police station. Police station has but three police officers, just three. One school, so the truancy rate is very, 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 very high for different reasons, of course. A lot of it cultural. So in that school, there is a counselor. So a child does not come to school is missing 1 day, or a child comes to school and has not is it appears as though the child has not eaten, or the child is dressed raggedy, looking really ragged and not clean. The teacher would refer the child immediately to the counselor to find out what's going on. If the child is at school, let's say the child is at school, but no, let's say the child is not at school. So the child is missing, didn't come today. Mark the register. Ronald is absent. Day number two, absent. The counselor is going to call the home, seek out the parents, and find out what is happening. We haven't seen your son at school today. Is there a problem? And if there's a problem, how can we help you to solve the problem? The parents might say, "Oh, well, yes, he was really, really sick. So sorry, we should have let you know, but he was really, really sick, so that's why he hasn't come." Okay, well, next time, be sure to let us know because it's important. Yes, yes, next time I'll do better. Let's see, the next day, 3 days later, the child still is not at school. They're going to call the parents again and said, "We still haven't seen your son showing up at school. Is he well? Is he still sick?" No, he's not sick, but he got up late this morning or the last 2 mornings. He didn't really want to go. Now, the counselor is going to say, "Well, you should, if Ronald doesn't come to school tomorrow, we're going to take further action." And what is the further action? We'll have to refer your child, that matter, to social services. So the child doesn't come the following day. So I get a call. "Mr. Daniel, this is the counselor at XYZ school. We have spoken to the parents of Ronald who have not been coming to school for the past how many days, and it appears as though they're negligible in some ways. So can you please look into the situation?" Now all of this is being done in the interest of the child. So I give the parents a call and repeat what was told to me by the counselor. They gave me the reasons why he's not going to school. I said, "Well, he doesn't want to go to school. He's not motivated." or he hasn't got any breakfast or lunch or whatever, so we can send him. So if it's a problem of food, social services, we provide food. We work with the parents. They're not working. They're hungry. Child is hungry. We work with them for, in the first instance, 2 weeks. Provide them with food, counseling, and everything else that they need. We speak to the child, find out what's happening. If he's depressed, not motivated, we deal with that. Let the counselor know. We're in touch with the family. Everything is okay. We have a plan in place. And the son, Ronald, should be in school tomorrow. If the parents give me a negative response and say, well, he's just not going to school and we just not going to send him because we don't feel he doesn't want to go. The child has a right to education. The parents are not motivated to send the child to school. They don't want, they're not interested in sending the child to school. Child education is at risk. If they refuse my help, then I call the youth protection people. See, I've spoken to the parents and they're not really interested. The child welfare is at risk. Youth protection will move in to the family and investigate what's happening further. And if it's a case, so the parents know this, so they have a chance, an option to get their act together, or risk being having a child being taken from the home temporarily in the first instance. So what I'm trying to say is there's a system in place, and all this is geared towards protecting the child. Every child has a right to education. So this little boy who was found in that car, that vehicle, who said was allegedly wandering about the village and begging for food and all of that, not going to school. Didn't anyone notice? And the people who noticed, who did they report it to? What authoritative body did they report it to? So we let one child slip through the cracks, slip through our fingers. Unfortunately, it was fatal end. But there's a lot of other kids maybe in that same situation. And the reason why we haven't heard about it because they somehow are still alive. So whatever it is, the obvious is clear. We need to do something. I want to know what is the plan. That's the first thing. What is the plan? Because we do have a problem. So I want to know what is the plan. So I don't know what the plan is. So maybe someone can enlighten me. What's the procedure when a child is not going to school? When a child is obviously having problems at home. They're not sleeping at home. They're sleeping, the side of the road. They're sleeping in abandoned vehicles. They're sleeping, you know. What's the plan? Whose responsibility it is to look into that? Who should be reporting? Is there a system of mandatory reporting? And mandatory reporting is that if I, as a social worker, see a situation where a child is at risk and I fail to report it, I have to answer to the law. Mhm. I have to answer to the law. Mr. Daniel, why didn't you report this? You were aware of the situation. If I have my license revoked, just for that. If I am found negligent, such. It's a very serious thing. The nurse at the hospital, a child shows up with injuries, and the nurse is told these are because my mom and my dad, they inflicted these scars on my body. That has to be reported. That nurse has a duty to report that obligation, legal obligation to report that. That's here. I'm not sure what's happening, what's like in some instance. Somebody can really enlighten me on that. So while we're having this discussion, I'm still waiting for my guest to pop in at any time. Yeah, so let me know where you're viewing from, and send me your comments. Let's have a discussion. What are your views in this? Because I don't intend to do all the talking on this because this is a everybody topic. Everybody's supposed to have, supposed to be concerned about this. This will be worrisome to everybody. But children are at risk from what we've seen so far. And are we going to sit back and let it get worse? Or what is it that you plan to do to arrest the situation? That's what I want to know. Because this is when I heard these news, man, this is too troubling. I still can't wrap my mind around that something like that could happen right on the nose, right on the nose of so many people. I still can't believe that something like that could happen in the middle, right in the midst of everybody. Nobody sees. Is it a case where nobody sees, nobody talk? I wonder if it's a case where people just doesn't care anymore. That's what I want to know. Is it a case where people just doesn't care? Let me know what you think because I really need an answer. Is it a case where people where we just don't care anymore about that's not really important? I want to know. Is it not important anymore? Is it not important that we look after our children? This should be top priority, not second, not third, not fourth. Top priority. Good morning, Stanley. Stanley Richards. And Ronald. Good morning, Ronald. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me this morning, man. Yes, I know Ronald has some very strong arguments on these topics. Yeah, we have had a lot of talk, a lot of discussions on issues like this and more in the past, many moons ago. I need to hear from you. There's a lot of children in Simonson who do not have a voice. They don't have a voice. And we are supposed to be their voice. We're supposed to be their protector, their guardian angel. We're supposed to be that. And if the guardian angel is not functioning, gone to sleep, or taking a vacation, who is manning the fort? Who's manning the fort? I mean, you're the one who's supposed to be security. You're the main gate. And the people inside are depending on you to check anyone who's coming in or going out. So they're relaxed inside because they know they have faith in you. You know you're at the gate. So they're not gonna worry. They're gonna go to bed sleeping soundly because you're at the gate. But guess what? They're thinking you're at the gate, but you're away on vacation. You didn't even tell them that you're gone. So you have exposed them to imminent danger. You have exposed them deliberately because you know you're the one they look to for their security. But you left, you walk off the job without even telling them. So, what are some of the things that parents are supposed to provide for children? I know St. Vincent and the Grenadines are signatories to that Geneva Convention, the rights of the child. You know, I've um, I've addressed a PTA, one or two PTA meetings in St. Vincent many years ago. And when I mentioned the rights of the child, boys, some parents will get up in arms. What kind of right you talking about? Rights what? What they want with rights? What do they want with rights? Hmm? Rights what? So there are a lot of parents today who do not believe that children should have rights. They're more concerned and they're more focused on the rights of parents. What about us? We don't have rights too. They do not believe that children should have rights. That is worrisome. That should bother you. What is what's one right? One right I know for sure. They have the right to education. It means that we should ensure, do everything possible to see that they get an education, that they go to school, and provide the means for them to go to school. Their clothes, their breakfast, their whatever it is, transportation, possible, everything that they would need for them to avoid worrying, so they can focus on their education. We need to provide that for them so they can have a good education. That is their right. We can't say, no, it's too expensive. I can't send my kids to school. As a matter of fact, the school is too far anyway. Or they don't have any shoes, so they can just relax at home until whenever I can afford to get them a pair of shoes. Mm-mm, not so. They ought to have an education. We must ensure that they have an education. They have a right to be secured, to live in a peaceful environment at home, a secure home, a home where they don't feel threatened. Hmm? Did you know that? An environment where they are they are allowed to be children. They don't have to worry about harm coming to them because they know that you're there and your main role is to protect them from all harm, from all danger. So how well are we doing? How well are we doing in ensuring that the rights of these children are protected? Or do we still hold on to the view that they don't have any reason to want to have rights? That's not something that they should be worried about. What I am the We are the judge and the jury and the executioner. What we say goes. If we don't have any food for them tomorrow, that's just how it is. I'm not gonna kill it myself to go and find food every day for these children. As a matter of fact, they're so ungrateful. They don't listen. They don't behave. They have no behavior. They're unruly. And there's some parents who punish their children by not giving them meals. They withhold meals from them. If in their perception that these children are not obedient, if they're deviant in any way, some parents would withhold meals from them. That's a violation of their rights. Did you know that? They have the right to be fed. So when these violations take place, who was it duty, and you are aware of it? You see these violations taking place next door to you. What is your responsibility? What's your duty? So you turn a blind eye and walk away and pretend that you didn't see it? What is your duty, your responsibility? When you witness these things happening, the child next door is not being fed, and the mother, the father is punishing them by withholding the meal, and you see it, it's right in your face. What should you do? What should you do? What do you usually do? What about my rights? So unfortunately, a lot of us in the village, because we're dealing with the village now. So remember, I say it takes a village to raise a child, right? As we see every day, that's happening less and less and less of that. That used to be so many, many moons ago. But today, that village has become smaller and smaller and smaller. So the child that the village is supposed to be raising is left on its own. to sit in a car and wait for death. That is sad. And when you hear something like that happening, if it doesn't bother you, then something is wrong. And if it bothers you, the question is, what are you doing about it? That's the million dollar question. What are you doing about it? So I'm still waiting, to hear your take on this, because we need to have a discussion on this. You know what my views are. I have some other views, I have some other views, but I will hold them for now. I'll drop them in a little bit, but I have some other views. I have some suggestions what we can do. I have some suggestions as to where we can start. So while you're pondering that, I came across this information. I this I couldn't wrap my brains around it. I couldn't figure it out about this Indian couple suing their only son. They're taking the son to court, civil court, suing their only son for not giving them a grandchild. Hmm? Now we talk about rights. Are they out of line? Can they do that? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe the laws of India says that every child has they're legally required or do everything within their means to give their parents a grandchild. Maybe the law speaks to that. I don't know. I don't know. I can't say, but I find it very, very interesting. I know this parents may have a mother might have father parents may have a one child, two children, and child number one gets married, and after a period of time that they think is long enough, they start asking questions. So when are you going to give me a grandchild? What are you guys doing? Don't you just hate that? What are you guys doing? Hmm? You whose business it is to decide when I should have a child, yes or no. Should the parents they have already done their job, their duty. You gave birth to me. You were happy when I was born. So now I'm here. I'm starting my own family. So how's that your business to dictate to me when I should start my family? To the point where you want to bring legal action against me for not doing so. Because you think you have the right to have a grandchild. Joysten, good morning. Glad to have you aboard. I know you're enjoying good weather where you are, but that's another topic. I don't want to go there. 'Cause I start talking weather now, I'm just going to get depressed. So let me not go to this weather thing. You see, I know, boy, because this weather here in Montreal is bipolar. One day is 17, 20 degrees Celsius. The next day is 25. It goes up to 24 degrees Celsius in the morning. By the afternoon, it gets down to 17. And at night, it gets down to 5. Next day, it starts raining. Next day is cold again. The other day is hot again. I don't know. So I give up on the weather. I just get up and just go where I have to go and just ignore the weather. If it's nice, it's nice. If it's not nice, so be it. I give thanks the same way. Yes, yes, better late than never. That's true. That's true, Justin. It's always better late than never. We on this show we don't penalize people for being late. When you're late, we welcome you. We say, boy, so happy to see you. You show up someone late and people start giving you a lecture. They start giving you a lecture. They don't even care why. But they never say, "Boy, I'm so happy to see you." But that's not a topic. So yeah. So I want to know which lawyer is going to take this case. You take this case for the Indian couple. You're going to sue me for not giving you a child. But talking about childbearing and child rearing and all that, you guys know my views. I don't know those of you who know my views. I've always said it, and I'll say it again. There are a lot of people who should never be allowed to have children. It may sound really, really rash. Should never be allowed to have children. And people who want to have children, I think they should go through a process. Some forms must be filled out to a certain to figure out where they're at, where the mind's at. Because if you have a couple who you have no clue as to how to take care of themselves, they have no plan for themselves, no plan on the way forward for themselves. How are they going to plan and execute a plan for children? So they have children. How are they going to do that? And if they can't do that, eventually, who's going to have to take care of these children? It falls on the state. Falls on the state. And if you look at the state, how well have the state been doing in terms of taking care of our children? What is what's the report card on the state? What's the report card like? Give them a C, a B, A plus. How well have they been doing? How well has the village been doing? What's the report card of the village? How well are you taking care of the children in your village? You see? And by village, I mean the village is not just the area where you live in. The village in this case is any child you see going astray, any child you see, that has a need. It is your duty to jump in. To jump in. It's your duty to get involved. If you see a child lost, apparently, obviously looking lost, or they can't find the parents, or they forgot where they live or whatever, it's your duty to jump in and as the adult on the scene to take over that case. Take the child with you. Make sure that they're safe. Call some authority, whether it's the police or whatever, child welfare department or whatever it is. Let somebody know. Like I have a child here. I met them on the street 2 hours ago. They can't find the parents. Blah blah blah. So I'm reporting this to you. I'm fulfilling my legal obligation. Okay, and I have some suggestions. I can keep this child while you do your thing. I can keep this child safe until, but that's another story. Because so where's the village? Where's the village? St. Vincent used to have a lot of villages. By that I mean our children were well taken care of once upon a time. You could have gone to work, or you go on to the market, or you go on to the mountain, or the farm. You went back until 5, 6 hours later. You call your neighbor. Look, Catherine, I'm gonna go out, I'm going down the road. I went back until 4 o'clock. Could you take care of things for me? And she said, of course. So you go away, and Kathleen and whoever it is, they go over your house. They'll give your children breakfast. They'll make sure that they go to school. They will comb their hair. They will do everything for them. You know, all of that. Every child comes home for lunch. They're gonna eat at their house. And if in the afternoon you're not home yet, you're gonna feed them. You're gonna put them to bed in their house until you get back, and turn the kids back over to you. You could have rest assured that your child would have been taken care of. But is that happening today? If it was happening, if that was happening today everywhere, I don't think we would have found that little boy, you know, that little boy's body in that vehicle. I don't think so. It does still happening today. If the village was still alive, I think the village has gone to sleep. The village is sleeping. The village is sleeping. It does happen. Why is it not happening today? So I want you to don't be afraid to share this live. If people are, wake everybody up. Let them know we're talking some serious things here. We're gonna nice stuff later on, but for right now, we must get this out of the way. Yes, we're discussing whose responsibility it is to care for children. Yeah, and I have not seen any comments coming in here because I know everyone. You should have an answer, at least have an idea as to how to answer this. Are we shirking our responsibility, or have we stepped up to the plate and decided to take care of our children? If we're not taking care of our children, the question is why aren't we doing it? Why are we failing in this area? How safe are our children? How safe? The people you live close to, can you trust them around your children? That's a serious question. Imagine you live in a small village. At some point, everyone is going to get a chance to interact with everyone. At some point, and if you can't trust the people living next to you or 10 houses away from you, that's going to put a lot of stress on you. That's a serious thing. That's going to put a lot of stress on you. If you cannot trust the people that you live in close to or who live around you, that is serious. The question is, why can't you trust them? I was still in this kind of uh, frame of mind where I'm not talking to her. We're still holding a grudge for how many years? It's because we're not talking to her. We pass on the same grudge and hatred to the children. So neighbor one is not talking to neighbor two. So neighbor one hates everything that comes with that's in that house for neighbor two. You have a quarrel with an adult, and as a result, you are going to make sure that you punish the children of that person because you have a quarrel with their parent. You're going to even instruct your children, do not speak to that child, those children over there. When you go to school, don't speak to them. They're not your friends. If they hit you, this is what you want to do. Hit them back. You're going to give them instructions. Mhm. I know that used to happen. I'm not sure on what scale it's happening now. Maybe it's not happening. Maybe it's not very prevalent now. I know some people, two neighbors will have a quarrel. They will hit the very dog from that neighbor house. If they get a chance, they will get rid of that dog. That dog cannot make a mistake and pass through their yard, your yard, because of the hatred you have for that person living in that house. And when you really look at in the final analysis, it's some petty nonsense, petty, petty, petty. So we teach our children how to hate. You don't have to tell them directly. They look at you. They look at what you're doing. They look at how you operate. So you teach them how to hate. You teach them how to fight. You teach them how to hold grudges. That's what we do. And a lot of us don't even realize that we're doing that. We don't even realize that we're actually teaching our children these things. That's why it's necessary, to have the guidance. That's why it's necessary for the state to provide the means where parents can learn to be better parents. It's a hard job. Being a parent is a very, very hard job. It's no walk in the park. There's no walk in the park. There's no manual you can pick up and say, this is what you do when a child starts crying at 2 months old, at 3 days old. This is what you do. A lot of it is trial and error in the first instance. A lot of it, trial and error. That's why we need each other. Pass on knowledge, to exchange information. Need each other. So I need to hear your views, and it depends on where you're from, where you are. Let me know where you are, which area of the globe that you're viewing from, and please pass on the information. Share this live. Don't be afraid to share it. There's a lot of people who are not up, and they need to be up. They need to hear this. One of the reasons why we have this Heart Work program, I tell you, is because at midnight, a lot of things happen at midnight. If you check it out, midnight. If a person is pregnant, a lot of times that water will break after midnight, or at midnight, or close to midnight, just after midnight. A lot of house fires take place after midnight, around midnight. A lot of thieves make their move at midnight, or just after midnight, close to midnight. It's a busy hour, that midnight hour. So somebody need to stand in the gap at midnight while others sleep. A lot of us need to stand in the gap, stand guard. A lot of us need to stand guard. We can't all sleep, because if we all go to sleep, who's manning the gate? Who's at the gate? If we all go to sleep, it's a serious question, eh? If we all go to sleep, who's at the gate? And this is a question that we have to ask ourselves every day. Who is at the gate? Because if you decide to go to sleep, you need to know who's at the gate. And if the person at the gate is somebody that you can depend on and you can trust, they will do a good job, then you can sleep peacefully. But if you don't have somebody good at that gate and you are aware of it, you will never sleep peacefully. So the gate we're talking about right now is the gate that is protecting us, securing our children. Who's manning the gate, protecting our children? And if they're not being protected properly, shouldn't we have a say? Shouldn't we advance, start asking questions, the hard questions, and making sure that the right people are at the gate to protect our children? No, I heard about this. You guys would have heard about this incident that is in Texas, somewhere in Texas. I don't remember which city, which town in Texas, where this young man, 18 years old, went into this elementary school and just went bizarre, went ballistic, started shooting. I think it's about maybe the total of the fatalities went up to, I'm not sure if it's 20 or 21 or 22 dead, young children, maybe around what, age 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. Hmm? Children who were left home, parents said goodbye to them, went to school. Safe place, supposedly safe place. These parents were sure that the gate was being manned, the secure environment. So they need not worry. They need not worry. But someone slipped through the crack. There's a weak link in the chain somewhere. And someone went and did the unthinkable. And the news of that the breach of security, the fact that these children were let down, that devastates parents all across the country because a lot of these lawmakers and so on and all that have to take the blame. Well, they've been things have been pointed at them that they have dropped the ball, they have let our children down. You guys have let our children down because you guys were supposed to be doing certain things, putting certain things in place to secure our children, but you've not done so. And if you have not done that, what should be our next move? Keep sending our children to the same school, waiting for the phone to ring again with the same news, or worse, or ensure that the gate gets secured, that the security is tightened. Hard question, tough questions. I'm not really satisfied. I'm not satisfied. Children don't have a voice, don't have a strong voice. As adults, parents, teachers, well, whomever, we have to be their voice. We have to speak for them. We have to protect them. We owe it to them to protect them. We owe it to them to feed them. A child should be going about hungry for days and weeks and months, and people knowing that they're still going to sleep comfortably. You know that there's a little girl or boy out there wandering around, no place, no secure shelter, or not having regular meals. He came to you a couple of times to beg, so you know of his situation. Hmm? And one day you heard of his demise. Wouldn't that bother you? Shouldn't that bother you? I don't. I never knew that little guy. I don't know him, but I just imagine my son. I don't have to know him. He could have been my child. I can imagine those last moments. I don't know how he died, but the fact is he died. And the fact is again, he should have been alive. He should have still been alive. He didn't make it. And the question is, who is responsible? Who's going to put their hand up and say, look, man, I need to take some of that blame? Not all, but some. I had a part to play in that. I could have done better. Who's going to be honest enough to say, I believe I could have done better. I failed in my duties as a whatever, whomever. I could have done more to ensure that this boy was protected, this boy was helped. Who's going to be so honest enough to see that, to own up to it? Hmm. Boy, well, I'm having some, in case you wonder what I'm drinking. I'm drinking lemon and ginger tea. Oh boy. At this time of the morning, that's the best, one of the best drink you can have. Gives you a lot of energy, eh? Ginger, lemon, yeah. By the way, I have some big news to share with you. I'm not gonna drop it now. Big news. Boy, I got that news about 2 nights ago. Actually, yesterday. No, Monday night. Yeah, I'm getting confused with days now because yeah, today's Thursday morning. So on Tuesday morning, early hours of Tuesday morning, I got some news, and that news is gonna that's gonna boy have a huge impact on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A huge impact on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I shared it with about 3 or 4 persons. Hmm. And if they're listening, then they know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm not sure if I should say it now. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe one of the persons who I shared it with, they can guide me, advise me. But I'm dying to share it. But this is big news. Big news. It's coming soon. It's gonna happen right in St. Mason and the Grenadines. I know you're gonna start guessing and boy. I don't think you'd ever guess this. You can't guess this one. You can't put a finger on this one. This one is oh boy. Because when I heard it myself, I said, what? Are you serious? So so I'm not sure if I should share it. But it's not bad news, it's good news. It's bad news. If it was bad news, you guys would have followed it a long time. But good news somehow take a longer time to circle. So Miss Joseph, you never heard it, yeah? No, I know you wouldn't hear it. You wouldn't know. Trust me, you don't know about this one. Yeah, it's only one, two, three, four persons in Sylvester know about this. No, sorry, five. Only five people in Sylvester know about this. Nobody else. And maybe I should reward the people, you guys who tune in tonight or this morning. Maybe I should reward you by letting you know. I'll think about it. Oh boy, I'm gonna think about it. I'm dying to share it. Simpson, Simpson is one of the most beautiful country in the world, and trust me, we used to live good. We used to be a family. As a little boy, man, I could have gone to anybody's house, and anybody's house, I could have walked into any house, and that house was just like my house. There was no funny face shown to me by the people living there. If I walk into any house at lunchtime, my bowl is there. They will give me lunch. If you shop at breakfast time, your bowl is there. You'll get breakfast. If you shop at bedtime, you get your supper. If by chance you fell asleep and it's raining or whatever, they call the parents. Look, Earl is by me. I'll send him over tomorrow morning. Any of you remember those days? And the parents don't have to worry because they know once Earl is with Ronald, he's safe. As a matter of fact, some of them will be happy for their break. I remember those days. St. Mason used to be a very beautiful, you know, as one family. The place is still, the physical beauty is still there. But the other beauty, the other side, that beauty is what I'm concerned about. The beauty of the heart, the beauty of, people living together, sharing with each other. Doesn't matter what is their religious affiliation or political affiliation, that is immaterial. That didn't matter. There used to be a time like that. I remember very vividly. It didn't matter. People would come together for the common good. Even if they were arguing this morning, if there's something happening in the evening where it requires all hands on deck, all hands will be on deck. I remember as a little boy, I spent some of my years growing up in Chumaka. Yeah, my roots are in Chumaka. Some of my roots, very strong roots too, in Chumaka. And I remember how they used to build houses. Maybe you can remember this too. When neighbor one wants a house built, all the men and women in the village will come together on a weekend, early Saturday morning, and put that house together. Sometimes by Saturday night, early Sunday morning, the house they can move into that house. I don't know how they did it, but that's how we used to operate. So because next month is your turn. So when you need your house built, the same people will come and all you gotta do is provide food. You there cooking and so on and providing the food and drink and people just build your house. Whatever it is that you need to be done. That's how That's when the village was together. That's when that was the beauty of St. Vincent back then. Today now, I don't know. Today you want a house built now. I think you basically you on your own. People, there's a time when we were together as one. It didn't matter what our religious or political affiliation. It didn't matter. Your child was the child of everybody in the village, and the child would respect each adult. You meet an adult, and you have to say auntie this or uncle that or nanny that. You have to give them a title, attach that title. Yeah, nanny Iris, auntie Pinky, uncle this, uncle that. It's not until I got to be old enough, I realized a lot of people I call uncle who are not my, were never related to me. I grew up thinking a lot of people were my real uncles. My mother, father, brother. Nothing goes on, nothing like that. We were made as soon as we could talk to say uncle this or uncle that, auntie this or auntie that. So that element of respect was instilled in us as soon as we could talk. That was non-negotiable. But today, adults encourage their children, when you see so and so passing, don't even look at them, pass them straight. Don't have a thing to say to them because they're not nice people. So they plant the seed of hatred into the minds of our innocent children, these innocent children. Teach them how to hate, teach them how to disrespect. And one day when the child would have learned have learned enough, that same disrespect will bounce back, ricochet, and hit you. And you'll have wondering, you're amazed, why is my boy, my girl, she's so disrespectful? I don't know where she got that from. That would be the lament. Could it be because we taught them well? The little boys today, you don't think in the little 5-year-old boy today, you don't think in 15 years he's a big man? So what are we teaching our 5-year-olds? Because one day they're going to be 10, 15, 20. So when you plant corn, you will not get corn. I used to be, as a little boy, I used to be sent into the farm to plant corn. And you have to put 3 corn seeds in each hole. 3. I don't know why 3, but maybe someone can say more. I never asked why 3. Why 3 corns? 3 of everything. You have to put 3 corn seeds in the hole. So my job this afternoon, my chore, was to go and plant this bowl of corn seeds. Dig a hole 2 or 3 feet apart, over the distance it is, and plant 3 corn. And they'd warn me, put 3 grains of corn in that hole, 3 grains. You say, yes, auntie, or yes, ma, yes, mama, whoever it is, yes, pa. And you're gone. You know how many times I try to take a shortcut because I think this is taking too long and jump 4 and 5 grains of corn in the same hole? Came back early. You plant the corn? Oh, yes, sure, no problem. Not understanding that these corn I planted, these grains I planted, would one day shoot up. They would one day become visible, and my scheme would be exposed, and I'll have to answer to it. So we planting these grains of corn in our little children's mind, without realizing that one day the seeds would germinate, and exactly what we planted is exactly what we're going to get. We're going to realize all the shortcuts that we took would amount to the misery that we have today. So somehow we are on this path where we are feeding our children with so much negatives or on a diet that they have no calling to be on, you don't realize that one day, they're gonna be talking back to you. They're gonna be throwing back into your face. The same thing that you were telling them to throw in the neighbor's face. They'll throw it back into your face. What are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do? You're so accustomed to beating them with a strap. When you were 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, when they get to be 14 and 15 and 16, they're bigger and stronger than you, and the strap ceases to work. What are you gonna do? When you raise your hand to hit them with the strap and they grab your hand and say, "No, not today. Enough." What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do at that point? That is where a lot of our parents are at today. The method that they've been using on our children, it was working when the child was unable to respond how they wanted to respond. And now today, that they're big enough and they're strong enough, they seize the opportunity to respond. The same response that they were thinking about since they were 5 and 6. Boy, when I get big, this is what I'm going to do. I can't wait to get big enough, strong enough. And when they reach that age, that physical maturity, and they respond to you in a way that you least expected, some people resort to even more physical violence. So instead of using a strap, they grab something else. That's when you hear of a child being abused. That's when you hear of this incident happening, or, some fatal. Because parents were not taught, they were not trained, they were not equipped with the right tools to rear the children. But then I go back to my question, whose job it is, or whose responsibility it is to equip them with the right tools? The parenting skill that you learn, that you know today, you probably learned it from your mother, from your father, from your parents, who learned from their parents. So today we have a lot of parents using some techniques that would have worked 50 years ago, 75 years ago. And they expect these same techniques to work today in the 21st century, not realizing that we are in a completely different age, different age. So the response you get from children will be different to today's children, will be different to those responses from yesterday's children. Dynamics have changed, but we refuse to go along with the changes. And then still we expect good results. It's like you go to school and you're studying, you're a bright student. You have a history textbook. You always pass in history exams. So this year, well, you pass all the exams. Next year, they change, they upgraded the history book, different edition. But you still have your edition from last year, and you still know you refuse to buy a new book. Because you say, I can't afford it. They want too much money. I'm not buying a new book. I'm going to study from the same book. And the next year, you do the same thing. You think you think you pass your history? Because they're going to be asking you questions that's not in edition one. But you are adamant you're going to study from this book, regardless of what. So as bright as you are, you're going to fail your exam because you wouldn't have the information that's relevant to today. What they're asking, you don't have the information. You're reading from the wrong book. The book was good last year, brilliant, perfect book. It had all the answers. Our parents back then and grandparents meant well. They meant well. The answers that they gave Maybe not of the best, but it worked to a point. Of course, there are a lot of reasons why they gave the answers that they gave. That's another topic for discussion. But given the same answers today, it'll be very confusing to be following a manual that's written for 75 years ago and try using it today. Very confusing. Well, so let me ask you again, you can share the life. Don't be afraid to to bring some people in. Everybody needs to hear what we're discussing this morning. So those of you who came in late, we just was dealing with the question of who should be really taking care of our children, whose responsibility is to take care of our children. And we also dealt with touching that Indian couple who was suing their grandson, suing the son for not providing them with a grandchild, suing their son for not providing them with a grandchild. Boy, that is something. So I was supposed to have some two people joining me this morning, but for some unknown reason, that has not happened. Well, I spoke with one gentleman, and he was experiencing difficulties in getting on. So the fact that he's not on now means that he has not rectified that problem. And my co-host, who should have been here with me, that couldn't happen this morning. So things didn't really go as planned, and that will happen. That's life. That's life. You tell me, and every day that comes, a lot of times things won't go as planned, but you have to always have a plan B. Doesn't mean that you're gonna stop and you're gonna give up. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. So again, for those of you who have logged on, let me thank you for doing so. And again, let me give kudos to Monty Behill Network for carrying this program. A lot of people, some people don't have Facebook, but they'll be able to tune into Behill News Network. That's Monty Cupid. Really thankful to you for being with us for that service. Because I think that what we're doing here this morning is very important. Very important. So if you have your questions, you have your comments, so feel free to drop it now, because now you see me, now you don't. Yeah, drop your questions, drop your comments. What we've been talking about parenting and the village taking care of the child. Maybe this is not bothersome to a lot of people. Maybe you don't really care about this. Little boy found dead in a car, some 7 or how old he is, 7 years old. I've heard. Maybe that doesn't bother you because it's not your son. So you're alarmed with the news for the first 10 minutes after hearing it, and then you go about living your life as usual. Yeah. No, yeah. If you want to jump in on the live, I can bring you on. You can let us know what your views are. Some of you deal with children on regular basis. Little children. How would you feel if one of those children that you are caring for, you hear something tragic happen to one of them, and to know that whatever happened to them could have been avoided had things been done differently, had the village been really taking care of that child, it would not have happened. How would that make you feel? Hmm? How would that make you feel? Would you be asking some tough questions as to why were we all asleep? Why was that child left alone to suffer, exposed to the harshness of life, realities of life? No shelter, no food, nothing. Hmm? I really want to know if how you figure that. That really bothered. That troubled me. When I saw the face of that little boy, maybe I would have been better off not seeing the face. But when I saw the face of that little boy, boy, that was painful to look at. That was painful. Children should not be suffering like this. Mm-mm. They didn't ask to be here. And that's the thing. They did not ask to be here. But we bring them, we brought them in anyway. They didn't ask to be here. We brought them here and still refuse to give them the care that they deserve. I want to know why. Why are we making decisions to bring children here, knowing that we have no intention of taking care of them? That's what I want to know. Hmm? What would make you think that you have the right to bring a child here and you found wanting, man? And some people think that being able to give a child 3 meals a day, is enough. You're just taking care of their physical needs. You give them clothes, you give them food, shelter. That's still not enough. Still not enough. Your obligation goes beyond that. They have a right to be nurtured. You have to nurture them. You have to shape them. You have to mold them. You have to teach them. You have to ensure that they grow up to be well-rounded, educated. Hmm? And there's an age that you have to keep going until you get to that age where they can fend for themselves. So having a child is an awesome, is an awesome responsibility. When I had my first child, boy, that's it, boy. Imagine that child is looking to me, is going to look to me for everything, every need, even wants. The eyes will be on me to provide it. And to me, that was really, really awesome. That was mind-boggling to think that someone is dependent on me. For everything. It forced me to live differently. It forced me to become more responsible. So if I used to be this carefree person living a carefree life, I had to stop that because now I have someone who's dependent on me for everything. So I can't afford to not to go to work. I have to go to work because this person has needs. He's gonna be asking for different things, and I have to be the one to be able to provide it. So I have to go to work, even when I don't feel like going to work. Good morning, Joshua. How's Bermuda? I know Joshua is in Bermuda. Yeah, very soon, Joshua, very soon I'll join you in Bermuda. That's a topic for another day. Yeah. So when I had my first child, boy, it forced me to live differently automatically. Oh my God. I mean, I wasn't living any reckless life before, but it forced me to become even more focused and disciplined because now I'm a parent. Now I have another mouth, eyes, ears, all direction is on me. Everything is focused on me. You see? So there's some people who have child number one, child number two, child number three, and for different reasons, yeah. I know here in Montreal, there's some people who have children. They had the gumption to even tell me that, some of them, because the government is offering benefits, financial benefits. The more children you have, There's more money coming that will come into your coffers. Boy, and they have this, they push out these children like an assembly line just to capitalize on the social programs that will give them financial benefits. Didn't matter what happens after that. Didn't matter. All that matters was that check that was coming in because of, as a result of these children. That's a shame. That's a shame. A lot of these children end up in in states in institutions. They end up there. They become wardens of the state. State become their mothers and their fathers. And that's another story because once you get into that to those institutions, a lot of them don't ever come out. They never come out. They're trapped. And that in itself, they develop different problems, other problems because of that. When they realize that they're trapped, there's no way out. When the harsh reality hit them, then you have different types of behavior manifesting. It can become very expensive because when these children around you, if they're not being treated properly, a lot of them will internalize pain, hatred, ill feelings because they're too weak to tell you or to lash out at you. They're going to internalize these feelings and they're going to wait. They're going to wait until they're old enough to pounce on you, to lash out. And when that happens, man, we're going to be, we'll be pushed into a state of panic because we wouldn't know what to do because they will come in so fast, unexpectedly. We wouldn't know what to do. Are we going to wait until more and more of our children start lashing out? Yeah, a lot of the violent behaviors from children or young adults, there are reasons for that. But who's really taking these reasons seriously? Is there somebody, a body of people who sit down and examine the reasons why these things are happening, why the reason for the violence from children or the violence from young adults or the violence from the, the average Joe? Do we sit down and analyze the reason for this violence and put things in place to check it? Because if we don't do that, it only get worse. And it bothers me because if I have to live in my country, it'll be of interest to me to know that there's peace around me. I live in peace. So if you plan to live in St. Vincent River the rest of your life, you may as well have have a plan for to do so peacefully. It makes no sense to want to live there for the rest of your life and you are showing no interest in ensuring that our children grow up to be model citizens, men and women. And some of us make the mistake of only caring for our little girls, ignoring the little boys. Somehow, we think, so we make the decision that one sex, needs all of attention, and the other sex they can manage on their own, man. It's not really necessary to give the boys so much attention. They're boys. And the expression as we know it, boys will be boys. They're boys. Don't worry about them. They're just boys. They're just boys. So we nurture our little girls, man. Make sure that they're okay. Make sure that they're okay. We nurture them, not understanding that the little boy that you didn't nurture, the little boy that you pushed away, and who has real issues with you and people like you, one day he's gonna grow up and he's gonna want to get married to your little daughter, who you nurtured all her life. Then you're gonna have a problem. We all will have a problem, but that's another topic. So I've said enough this morning. Um, I guess nobody has anything to add. If you have something to add or subtract, man, you can. This is your time, you know. This is your time. Let's have a conversation. I have a guest supposed to be joining me, but it didn't happen. No, two guests, it didn't happen. So maybe if you have something to contribute, let me hear it. I know I asked the question and nobody has answered my question as yet. I don't know if I should ask it again. Nobody has answered my questions yet. I asked a very important question when I started the program. Maybe I should ask it again. Whose responsibility it is to care for our children? Simple, simple question. Boy, I'm telling you, I'm laughing because it is simple. I mean, if it's an answer that if you know it and you answer it, I don't know what's happening. No, Joshua, it's not too late for you to join, man. Not at all. I just need somebody to answer this question. You know, sometimes you in a class and you ask a question and you know the answer, but you're afraid to answer it. I'm telling you, man. Yeah. So I'm asking the question, responsibility it is to care for our children. That's all I'm asking. Oh boy. So I'm waiting to hear somebody answer that question. Who's gonna be bold enough to answer that question? Or maybe you don't know the answer, and that's okay too. But you can tell me that you don't know the answer or you're not sure. Whose responsibility it is to care for our children? Do you think in any way, shape, or form you are included in that little party of people who's supposed to be caring for our children? Maybe it's not your role. Maybe you'll be exempted because you have your own you have your own issues dealing with. Probably so. Yeah. Maybe you're exempted. So I have some people here who do not know who do not know the answer for this question. So maybe I ask this question every time I come on until I get an answer. Yeah. Maybe I'll ask it every time I come on until I get an answer. Well, so we did start a few minutes after the midnight hour, and in that case, I don't think let me see our time. We don't have much time left. We don't have much time left, but for the time that we have left, I would love to I'd love to answer your questions. I love answering questions. I love answering questions. Yeah, Joshua, I'm trying to add you here, but I'm getting but something is not connecting. Sometimes things don't work. These gadget tell me I can't bring you on. I'm trying to add you. Yeah, something is not connecting. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's not connecting. Maybe you can keep trying. It's not connecting. Anyway, but Joshua, I hope that you can come on at some point, but it's not I don't know, boy. These gadgets sometimes, man, they try to outsmart us as humans. Yeah. Well, folks, we get into that time, but I'm not gonna open any more topics this morning. I have a lot of topics that I wanted to talk about, but I'm not gonna open any more topics because this I think that I'm gonna do that this topic with this young boy. I think that needed most of our attention. And even if you have not said anything, I hope that what you heard will set you thinking, that you feel some sense of, responsibility, and don't go away with the thinking that, well, it's not me. It's not me. Well, Joshua is saying it is his responsibility to raise his child. That is true. That is true. But I want to know if that extends, to other children. You know, if one of that extends to other children. Yeah. So I'm saying I expected somebody else joining me this morning, Mr. Garvie Thomas, but I've not seen him showing up so far. So Garvie, you have to go on the Facebook Live and send a request, and I'll add you. Yeah. Yes, yes, Joshua, I know, but do you think that you're responsible for raising anybody else's children? That's the question I want to ask Joshua. You said it's yes, your child is your responsibility, but does that extend to any other child outside of your home circle? See? Because the whole point is it takes a village to raise a child. So once your child is in that village, the village is expected to raise your child as well. Yeah. Yes. I'm trying to. They're gonna have some. The system is not. I don't know if it's internet or something is not working properly. I'm trying to add some people. So maybe. Yes, Miss. Is that Miss Thomas there?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Well. What took you so long, man?
I've been having some technical difficulties, but thank God I'm in. How are you?
According to what the guy said when I asked him how are you, he says, "How are me?
I know that guy.
How are me? Huh? How are me?"
I I know that person. I know that person.
Gabby,
And
good
you
morning. You
you
seem
spoke
to
you
be.
spoke like him. Is he a brother?
Don't let me go down that road, Nick. I'm gonna ask you who exactly is your brother. Say when I ask you
Okay, very well.
who's your neighbor, who's your neighbor.
Very well.
So
Very
he
well.
is he is my brother.
Very well.
Yeah, I see that you're on the road.
Yes, I am on the road, but we can chat. Yes, we can chat.
Yeah. No, I was asking a very easy question, right? I thought it was easy, but I'm not getting. I only get one. I only got one answer so far after asking for like half an hour.
I heard you ask, whose responsibility is it to raise a child
Oh,
or our
oh,
children?
you heard the question.
Very well.
So,
If I may, as a citizen, as a parent,
yeah.
as a human,
No, no, no. Wait, hold on. I want to tell the people, give them. You have to present your credentials, folks.
my
I'm
name is
talking to
Garvie
Garvie
Thomas.
Thomas. Go ahead.
I am a former police officer in the from the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force.
Hmm.
I served at least 21 years, 6 months, almost 22 years.
So you are an adult.
My Absolutely, I'm over
21
18 there.
years. 21 years.
Yes, I would have been involved passionately with the care, nurturing, and development of our nation's youths. I'm a passionate child advocate. Even though I have left the organization, I have migrated to another country, I still pay particular interest in the development of my country and in particular development of our young people.
Mm-hmm.
And it is quite sad of what I would have read from the papers and what I would have heard on the news about the death of a 7-year-old child. This is a curse. Let me use that. It is a curse on our society. It is a curse on our country that a 7-year-old child had to suffer in this way. It tells me how selfish our society is, how selfish our people are, and how selfish and cruel we all can be. I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, but we all are to be blamed for the demise and the death and
How so?
the suffering and the death
No, but how so?
of
How so?
this. Also, because the four agents of socialization have failed this youth. And these are the family, the church, the school, and the society at large. The
Strong.
four agents of socialization have failed this child, and not just this child, many, many children. But we are talking about this one whose life was snuffed or snatched. It should not have happened in the year 2022. And it should
Hmm.
not have happened at all. We have become very, very egotistic
Hmm.
instead of being altruistic. We have become very, very selfish and cruel to each other.
Mm-hmm.
That a 7-year-old child in a community, in a community that is closely knitted, a community that has values and morals, customs, folkways, a child has died on our watch. A 7-year-old child.
Hmm.
This should not have happened. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a signatory to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child.
Uh-huh.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines is one of 196 countries to have signed on to that convention.
Mm-hmm.
And based on what I gathered, this child lacked the four basic rights in terms of proper nutrition. Come on. Come on. Nobody helped him. All of us just stood there, yap, just chatting and casting blame. Who helped?
But
Who helped?
who was supposed to give him the proper? Where is he supposed to get the proper nutrition from? Let's break it down. Who was
This,
supposed to give him that?
if the family, if the which we, a thorough yet comprehensive and
Mm-hmm.
objective investigation is warranted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because as a professional in this, as an experienced person with this, and you also, my brother, there are certain I's that must be dot and certain T's that ought to be crossed. And the I's weren't dotted, neither were the T's crossed. If if the family is a family of a single parent mother,
Hmm.
or if the family is a family that is of low socioeconomic background,
Right,
and I'm talking about poverty or indigent poverty or abject poverty,
right.
who reached out? Listen, this has really caused an indictment and an embarrassment to our country. You know?
Who dropped the ball?
Um, not that no who dropped the ball. You know? Who the ball dropped?
who who had the
It's who the
first
ball dropped.
who had the first opportunity to catch the ball?
You understand? Because I am looking at it. We need to ascertain or elicit certain information from the mother. But let's go beyond that. Um, this child, was he a truant? But how can he be a truant at age 7?
Hmm.
Don't tell me a 7-year-old child lacks interest in school, you know. It can't happen. It cannot happen.
But as I'm saying, the school has a register. Huh?
Yes, the school has a record system,
Yes,
and
that's
a lot of, as I said, the 4 agents of socialization have failed because we are looking at accountability. United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child states that failure to report any form, not just physical or sexual abuse, emotional and his psychic needs were not fulfilled. And the persons who have been involved or who were supposed to be involved in this child's life, the school, what has the school done in terms of reporting or not reporting?
but see but you have to examine the system the school has. That's what I'm trying to ascertain. What is system at the
There,
school when a
there
child is
is a
instructed?
register. There is a register. There is a structure where
Hmm.
there's a principal, there's a class teacher, there's a
Right,
deputy principal, there are senior teachers.
right.
If let's hypothetically let's put a scenario. Let's say this child was absent from school for 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah.
Good. One given week, was this brought to the principal's attention by the class teacher? That
Okay.
it, and then let's
Step
look at
number
it
one.
whether it went
Yeah.
on. Let's look at it whether it went on for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or it has become a pattern or a habit where the child is being absent from school on a regular basis.
Hmm.
Who took it up on himself or herself to find out or to ascertain whether this child is sick? Who reached out to the mother?
But
What?
Garvey,
Hold on, buddy. One
yeah,
minute. Does the school have a social worker sorry, a counselor?
yeah.
In addition to that, there's a district clinic or a polyclinic now in that area. Somebody has to report it. There's a police station at Stubbs.
Wait,
There are social services in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
you see, let me. I want to make a point. I want to note. I want to make a note of my point because, but I want to. Joshua made a very important comment here, right? He said, "How can you drop a ball that does not exist?"
Uh, Very good. That's why I said the ball dropped us.
Yeah. Uh,
The ball dropped us.
and another point that I want to make. I want to ask a question. Now, you said the school has counselors, right?
Yes,
Now, what's the role of a counselor?
not just to counsel.
Hmm?
Not just to counsel. A counselor is a facilitator.
Of what?
a motivator. Okay?
You see, but I think it needs to go a step further, right? Because school needs to have a counselor, equipped with a counselor. They also need to have a social worker,
Very good.
right?
Very
Because
good. Of course.
counselor is there the counselor, right?
Yes.
Social worker, counseling is part of the role of a social worker. But the social
Yes,
worker
sir.
takes it a step further, right? By so investigate, do investigation, go to the family, go to the home of the child, find out what's happening, do a needs assessment, right? And report the findings back to the department, social services, right? I think we lost Garvie there. We lost the video. I think it's but I think let's wait and see if you yes. So Garvie, so having a counselor is all well and good, but isn't it the case where we should have social workers being placed in the school, being resident in the school? And the question needs to be asked now: how many counselors and or social workers we need to have in each school? What kind of population that we're talking about? Someone said to me earlier that there's some schools in primary schools or whatever that have 500-600 children. I don't know how true that is, but the person was very credible. Now that's a lot of children for to have one or two, workers, counselors or counselors. So this is the questions I need that I'm asking. Shouldn't we be moving to the direction of having social workers? If you understand the role of a social worker in opposed to role of a counselor. Both are needed. So it tells me that obviously this is going to cost. It's going to need more financial resources, to be pushed into that direction. Social services, because we need to. Because a lot of families are hurting financially and otherwise. So who's going to take care of that? And Joshua's question is, how can you drop a ball that does not exist? So I am asking, where's the ball? And if Joshua is right, why doesn't the ball exist? Or did anyone notice that the ball didn't exist? Or could it be a case where everyone just think that there's a ball? What they throw into each other is a ball, and it's really not a ball. So this is very serious. It's very serious. We lost Garvie. Garvie, just try to get back in because you were in the middle of a very solid point that you're making. Garvey seems to think that the system somehow has failed that little boy, and he has to make these statements, but we need to break them down, to dissect it, take it apart, and to see exactly where the failure was, where the failure was. We can touch it and say, okay, here's where things started going awry. Here's where things started going downhill. This is where we took a wrong turn. And this is where this is what needs to be fixed. Because if we don't fix it, this will happen again. I don't want it to happen again. But if we don't address it, how many other little boys are out there sleeping in vehicles and not in a house, not under a roof, shelter? How many little boys out there just manning, walking around on their own? How many more are out there? Who's looking after them? Very, very serious questions. And as God was saying, I mean, we all should be very, very concerned about this because this is very serious. How could we not be troubled by this? How could we not be troubled by this? Children have a right to security. They have a right to food and shelter. Joshua is saying social services in St. Vincent and the Grenadines serve little positive purpose. Now I know, I have an idea as to how social services is supposed to work. I have an idea, but I'm not going to compare Simonson with Canada. But the basic thing must be in place in every system. Welcome back, Garvie. I lost you for a
Thank you, buddy.
while. I almost filed a police report, a missing person report.
No, no, hold on there, buddy.
I
I
almost filed a missing person report looking for Garvie Thomas, ex-police officer.
you don't have to.
For
I
21 years. You were an
yes,
adult. You
I
became an
lost
adult
connection there.
in the police force.
Huh? What is it? Police?
You became an adult 21 years in the police force.
Yes, please, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. But this is very, 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 very serious, and we we ought to examine ourselves as a country, as a society, as a community, and see where we went wrong in terms of failing this child, admit our wrongs, and ensure that this does not happen again on our watch.
Mm-hmm.
It should not. The mother of the child needs help. Again, I am not going to cast any blame. I don't know the circumstances. I wish I were
Exactly.
home.
Exactly. Yeah.
I wish I were home to really interview, not interrogate, interview this mother. Is she a
Yeah.
single parent mother? In terms of does she have other children for other fathers?
But shouldn't such an interview be done by social services already?
Well, we are not hearing
Shouldn't shouldn't
anything.
that
If
shouldn't that have been done
right,
already? Was it done? Was it done before?
I,
But
I,
but if it
I,
if it was done, nothing was it was not reflected in change of the boy's condition.
no, and hence the reason why we are here. We are, again. We're not pointing any fingers, but this is
Mm-hmm.
something that should not have happened. And we're not blaming any one person or any one institution or any one organization. The four agents of socialization have failed the child,
Mm-hmm.
which includes all of us. And as I indicated, we do not know the circumstances. What are the circumstances pertaining to the mother? Because I'm looking at it, does she have other children for another man and she's living with the man, or the man is living with her, and um he couldn't care or less anything about, or couldn't care or less or anything about this boy. He is not the boy's father, or the boy is not his son, and the child must not eat anything that he brings there for his other child or children. And we have seen this. I have experienced this, and you can talk about this to my brother,
Oh yeah,
where
I've seen that so many
right,
times.
and where some women give love to some idiots that we call men
Mm-hmm.
over their children.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I am very, very hurt by this. I'm very, very hurt. This has pained me from the time it was announced that this child, because this could have been one of my sons. I
But
have
that's
three
the
sons,
point
and
I
this
made
could have
earlier.
been one of them. So I have to treat this as my own. Why? It's in our laps. It's on our doorsteps.
Okay, you went back again and you talked about you were speaking earlier about taking care of the girl child only and
Hmm.
neglecting the boy. Deceased Professor Barry Shevers, he wrote a book, Lost the Ball and Tie the Heifer. It's a profound statement. George, don't forget, you and I were socialized not to show emotion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If we show emotion, we are two little CCs or two little
Yep.
pim pim.
We're weak.
Good. And are we really looking at it that all these are causing a breakdown in us our society? Because it's a vicious cycle where your son is not going to get involved with a girl, or that girl is going to get involved with your son, and it further breaks the society down.
Exactly.
It keeps
Oh,
going, it keeps revolving or going round and round and round. Hence, all of these other social problems, domestic violence, would continue to be rife.
Mugabe, isn't that I'm gonna use I can't use the word common sense because I should know common sense probably is the wrong word. Isn't that obvious? Shouldn't that be obvious?
Well, my former commissioner, Mr. Kwawu, used to always say common sense is not common.
No, but
Okay.
shouldn't it be obvious that
Yes,
if you don't fix these issues, you're gonna blossom into larger issues down the road?
but it is happening. Look at our prisons. Look at the population
Don't
of our
don't
prisons.
don't go there, Garvey. Do not
You,
go there.
you well, this is
You are gonna
I'm
get me all right up now, you know.
with my trawler. Okay, come on, we are losing our young men and we are losing our boys. I'm sure this young man, this youth, this kid that died. Oh, I'm sure he had a bright future of whom he was and what he wanted to be one day when he grows up. But we looked down on him. We neglected him. We failed him.
Yeah, but that's the what is obvious, what is factual that we fail him. I'm not saying because he's dead, so he was failed,
Yes,
right? That's a fact. He's dead, and we failed him. He was
a
failed.
lot. There are a lot of unanswered questions here, and this is a puzzle that needs to be fitted up properly. We ought to hold the powers that be accountable for this. My last point of this investigation would be to the mother, because I need to know what are the circumstances or what are her circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay, she's the last person I would cast a blame on.
No, that when she has her own she has her own issue. Maybe her basket is
Of
full.
course,
Her bag is full.
okay. And I am not relying on, and you and I are not relying on hearsay. We need the facts.
You talk to her.
Uh,
Sit down and talk
yeah,
to her. Ask her
yeah.
what's
I
going
need
on.
to
Then
reason with her, trash things out, and then because we at this stage we have to really empathize with her. Again, her son is dead.
mm-hmm,
This is a child she gave birth to.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, if she wanted to kill him, she would have killed him before birth or during birth. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay, but he has grown to be 7, and it should not have happened.
Hmm.
It should not. Why? Because, oh, my brother, we need to know. We need to find out, and if let's speak. We need to find out if the boy was breastfed properly, because we're looking at secure attachment here. Was there any bonding between the mother and the child?
Hmm.
You know, because something is missing. And
Mm-hmm.
if not, what would have led this circumstance or this situation to occur? Did the clinic? again was, well, listen, my brother, this is, as I said, we need to really find out, was the child registered at birth? Was the child registered at school? Was the child registered at the clinic?
Because if we register at all places, these people
There,
from different should be asking questions when things are not when things are not regular.
oh, listen,
When the programming is not regular.
everything must fall in chronological order. Listen, you and I know nothing knows when it comes to this,
Mm.
because we know where to get our information. Okay, nobody would take us on a circus or put anything at my mouth and tell me it's peanut butter. No, 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 no. Okay, I never taste it, but the smell is totally different.
That's what I
Okay,
will ask you. How you know?
okay, you understand? But no, man, it doesn't sound good. Okay, we not live in. Is my country, my beloved country, a banana republic? Huh? Again, have we? Is this the price of development where everybody studying is on their cell phone and see a little boy in a community and couldn't even pay notice or mind to him, and after he's dead, that's when everybody's they say, oh, maybe see him there, had he been there? Come on. And this child sought refuge in a car, or what purportedly is an abandoned car, where he perished. Huh?
Right. But what his last moments were like, man?
Okay,
You know,
just,
probably expecting somebody to help.
you understand? Huh?
You know, Garvie was so weak to get up to go.
Lack of
Yes,
lack of
just
nutrition. That's
because the
that's
body's weak,
abuse.
just remain where he is.
Okay, lack of emotional care, lack of TLC, tender loving care. Oh God. Huh? I am waiting to hear, and listen, the day I go home to St. Vincent, if this case is closed undetected, it will be unearthed, because I need to find out. It is my civic duty
Hmm.
as a Vincentian citizen by birth and as a human being to find out, get to the bottom of this, and make sure that it does not happen to any other child again.
But that should be the mindset of everyone, all the parties involved. You know, to make
The
sure that
child,
this doesn't ever happen again to anybody else, to any other child.
and our institutions and organization and the powers that be, they ought to be honest with themselves, admit that there was a breakdown and there was failure, apologize publicly, and let us move forward.
But that will look. Joshua said made a comment here. He says, "I reached out to that boy. He was told, and quotation marks, pelt your tail out of hair, unquote."
Um, uh,
So
ag-
it seems as if that he was treated just like he was treated as. Oh boy,
right, but
I
again,
don't know what to
again,
say.
right. Let's look at it.
My Lord, like a
Let
stray
if
dog.
we may, it right. Very good. If we may use the, and not that you're saying he's a dog, but if we may use the term he's brought up C,
Hmm.
right? Um, I was once told that manners and behavior carry through the world, but I couldn't go to Liat and tell them that I have manners and behavior. I want to go to
I want
Barbados.
to kill.
Good. Um, is it? Joshua, I'll apologize sincerely on behalf of the young man, on behalf of the little boy. However, let's look at it again. He is from a low socioeconomic background. Um, what we're gathering and sensing is there was a lack of breakdown. Maybe just imagine that he's being given something and he might just grab it out of your hand without saying thank you. You get my point, George?
Mm.
Okay, you might see him, and as here's it, Joshua said he reached out to him and he told Joshua pelt his tail, right? But you're looking at it that is this him or is this the demon in him?
But Joshua said the powers that be told him that.
Oh, I see.
That's a whole different complexion now.
Oh,
So he's told that by the powers that be.
of course. But you
So
know,
that wasn't very important.
well, listen to me. Joshua went there as a sensible person, or so, and so which means somebody's hiding something. My suspicion. Yes.
Well,
Okay.
you're the policeman.
Right. Okay. It's either somebody's hiding something or somebody's trying to cover his or her backside. Okay. And but this, listen, regardless to that, to what you, this is not a private matter, you know. Okay. This is a public matter. This is a matter for the society, for civic society to ask questions and demand answers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If they want UNICEF and UNESCO to come in, if they want Amnesty International to come in, bring it on. Two can play that game. Okay? An octopus doesn't have one tentacle, you know. Okay, it might
I
have one head. Okay? But it doesn't have one tentacle. But they should not have happened.
I
It
mean,
is sickening.
yeah,
And
but it,
if somebody from the power that be has made such assertion, or let me put it, derogatory or insultive or rude remark to somebody who's trying to help, what that tells you, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Should this individual be working where he or she is working?
well,
Huh?
you have people who are in certain jobs and so on that don't belong in those jobs.
Just for the pay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
My
so
brother,
so
you and I know when it comes to social policy, you have the residual, the structural, and the development.
hmm.
Good?
Boy, I've heard those words in a long time, man.
Very good. And these when we talk about public as, and that's why I'm asking, who helped or who has reached out to this woman? Because my brother, somebody has to know something. Say this is a small place. Stubbs is a closely knitted community. Okay, Stubbs School, of which I was intimately involved in
Oh
from
yeah,
the DARE
yeah, yeah.
program. The DARE
That I
program.
know.
Good. I know that there are responsible teachers and responsible citizens in that community. The ladies who sell in their trays and what's not there to the school children. Okay?
Yeah.
Man, listen, they would have told us something. The teachers would have brought it to our attention. Another student would have said, Officer Thomas, boy, not come to school today, you know. Okay? You think I would journey back to Kingston at Central Police Station and knowing that boy didn't come to school today and don't go and look for boy?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? I'll go there. It's my business to know boy's business.
Mm-hmm. See, but that's the passion and commitment that's needed, right? When you're doing certain type of jobs, work,
My
that's
brother,
the passion and commitment that's needed. Not just
you
showing up.
you're
Ah,
looking at preventing boy from becoming an export criminal. Because when boy goes to the university next to Vinlek there, okay, you know what happens in there, right? Huh?
don't I ever?
Okay, good. Okay, and the age. Your and I is between 16 to 35. All young men are packed up in there.
I mean, even though I've long advocated, but I've been talking about it for years about there should be separate, there should be a juvenile detention center, right? I mean, look how many years, Garvie. Look how many years we're
Hold
talking
on,
about that.
hold
Look how
on.
many years. Let me
Right.
see.
Let me not
Why we
talk
still
any.
putting why we still putting young offenders
No.
with the
Well,
seasoned offenders?
let me say this without any apology. Central Station would have appeared to be the the nursery. I know the um, Human Rights Association, since I have joined the force, have been totally against our juveniles being housed at Central Police Station. And it's not that they mix and mingle with the adults who are there. There's a holding area, but the holding area is not conducive.
I've gone
Okay,
past I've even gone past that. I'm gone past into where there's
very
been
good.
sentenced, right?
But my,
And been made to be sentenced
George,
with the
George,
population, the seasoned
George,
population.
very good. Look at it. If you and I were to go into the budget estimates, okay, for the last, let me go back from since 90. Let's go back from 1979 after we got independence to 2022, and you look at the budgetary estimates for social programs every year. It's quarter page. A quarter of a page. It's an embarrassment. It's an
So
embarrassment.
hmm.
Okay? It is an embarrassment. Okay? I am not blaming any one party. I'm blaming the governments, the administrations from post-independence. Come right up to 2022. Okay? They have not taken social programs in St. Vincent and the Grenadines seriously.
Boy,
Okay?
if,
All the
if
ministers, all the ministers, all ALL in capital
but
letters,
if the
who have been
social,
ministers of and for social development, okay,
but but
they are all snotty nose. They have no
but
respect.
Gavi, but Gavi, if
No respect for
socially,
the poor, okay, and no respect for the ministries to which they have been assigned. Okay? It's all talk, 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 and old talk. Same shit, different day. And I'm saying that without any water in my mouth and without any apology. I have seen it, I have lived it, and so do you, my brother. Go back to Liberty Lodge, Boys Training Center. There were some boys who were residents at that center that murdered a police officer. Those boys were there. They walked out and went back after committing a crime. What I tell you? Okay?
when did that happen?
A few years ago, this guy, Constable Richardson, listen, the officer, out of his good heart, give these boys a ride, and they killed him, allegedly dropped a stone on his head out Connery area out there over an embankment. It's somebody who passed and found the officer's ID. And those boys drove that car from that area back to Clare Valley and set the car on fire. Okay? That one of them was traumatized by the incident that occurred. He was seeing everything was flashing to him in his sleep. Come on. Okay, half of the institutions that we have at home in terms of these, unless like, well, we have the St. Joseph's, the convent at Mariconia where our girls go, our teenage girls and all. That's commendable. Okay, but I remembered vividly. That's why I spoke about the structural and development. Liberty Lodge Boys Training Center had a resident there living for 19 years. Let me talk dialect. What the hell was he doing there so long?
Oh, well, you say he is
No
resident,
structure.
so
No
he,
structure.
he is resident.
Yes. Well, the resident as citizenship he get.
We got
Okay.
we have 5 minutes left for our program. I'm not sure we overtime by
My brother,
we over
this
the time by
we
24 minutes.
well
So we gotta wrap up. We gotta wrap up.
it is a pertinent issue. It is a social problem. I can vouch as long as I have the breath of life in me. I would continue to be an advocate for the downtrodden, the disadvantaged, and those who we ought to reach out to and help. But we can't just be running off our mouths and don't put it to action. Report. If you see something, say something. A
Yeah,
teacher,
we need to
yes,
push that. We need to push
yes,
that
yes.
slogan.
Okay. Don't say
You
it's not
know.
your business. Report it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we need to
If you
push.
don't, there, there, there is somebody that you should have confidence and trust in. Report it. Report it. Report it. It is vital because I'm sure there are persons right now who feel guilty. The blood of this little boy's, of this little boy is on their hands. Why? They failed. And that's something that you have to live for the rest of your life because you failed to help him. You failed to report what was happening. You failed to report such occurrence.
Hmm.
Okay? And we can do better. And we ought to
Mhm.
do better. And we must do better. But this, I want us, not you, I want us to keep it alive until
Well,
we get justice for this son of ours
well,
who
well,
perished.
well. Well, well. My approach. The reason why I mentioned this and my overall motivation for doing so is so it can trigger our consciences, right? So as not to let it happen again,
Yeah,
right?
it shouldn't happen,
You
man.
know, you know, let it not happen again. Like Joshua said, there is no guilt, only shame. You
It's a
know,
fact.
no guilt, only shame.
That's
Yeah,
why I said it has this incident has ricocheted worldwide, you know.
this
Okay?
should never happen again.
No. It has
Yeah,
brought shame and disgrace to our country.
and for it not to happen again, all systems need to be activated, right?
And
I mean,
listen,
all systems
what is
need to be activated.
what is so difficult in networking? It's not a rat race.
Yeah,
Okay, network.
so
Okay,
we need there needs to be a seated conversation. There needs to be a
absolutely.
seated
And
conversation
it
about this.
is seated,
Yeah. A debriefing,
unhinged. Yes,
some kind of debriefing,
yeah, man.
and
Yes,
there needs to be some sort of debriefing, man. They have to, yeah.
and and
We
let
hope.
us pledge to those who need any help. We're here to help.
That's my heart want to say, and I hope the word get around because we're here, people who can get the help, even counseling, whatever.
Yeah, we're
This is
here to
a
help.
this is it, tune
Okay,
into here and let's have a discussion, see where you're at,
my brother,
and
I I
and
cannot
see how best
I
we
I,
can help.
I cannot say how much I would always love Barbara Matthews. You
Oh,
understand?
I I work with her for
Yes,
2
the
years.
first lady of social work in civil center grenadines. Okay, that's the title I gave her. Okay?
Well, that's you may not have that correct.
No, when I say the first lady, okay, I'm not saying she is the first lady.
No,
You get me?
you're
Yes.
saying the same thing without saying the same thing.
Eh, oh, correct. Okay, but I know I can say that her heart is sore,
Oh, yeah, that Barbara was a dedicated boy. I
passionate.
could speak about for a whole month on Barbara's
My
approach.
brother, that's my
Yeah,
teacher. I
yeah,
can't say she was my teacher. She's my teacher.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and I know how passionate,
Oh yes,
professional,
that's a
and
fact.
confident.
That's why I'm
Okay?
up to this day. I'm always referring people to Marion House.
Of course, when
Because
it
yeah.
when it comes to the interest of the child, Barbara Matthews is ruthless.
Mm,
She stands up for the child and would make sure that she gets all the necessary help. Bring everybody on board. She knows who to call, when to call, where to call, how to call. So if those persons who are sticking in park or who are going back in reverse, come on, put the lever into drive, seek help. Seek help by if you are burnt out, you can refer. If you are burnt out, you can ask for help
mm-hmm.
because the helper needs help too.
Well, you
Nobody
better
would,
believe it, man.
yes, nobody would know that the helper needs help unless the helper asks for help. And
You
asking
better
for help
believe it.
is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. That's how you learn. That's how you network. That's how you develop your skills as a social worker. Okay? Because you can always refer somebody, hey, I spoke to this person, I was able to get this. Let me make a call and see how best I can. Don't
Yeah.
keep it to yourself, man.
There needs to be a clear system. There needs to be a very, very clear system.
Yeah.
Hey, good morning. But you're saying that's Camille. Hi, Camille. Camille is joining us from Calgary.
Wow.
Wow,
You're
Camille.
still
Good
up
morning.
at this time.
Yeah. What do you mean this time? This is gonna be.
Uh,
You,
yes, Camille.
we just about saying goodbye, and you came in just to give us a wave, man.
Yes,
The
I actually had an appointment, so I joined late. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'm glad here to tell people that next Wednesday you're gonna be starring on this program.
Oh dear.
Oh yes, Gary, man. Oh boy, you see, the cat has come out the bag.
Oh my
very well,
goodness.
very well,
Camille,
very
man,
well.
you have a discussion right down your alley, right down your alley. I know, it, man, but we have what 2 minutes left for the program.
That's okay. It's all
Yeah,
good.
so
I caught the
so
tail end of it.
yeah, so give us a little piece of thing before you go down. You know the part that you caught.
Well, I'm not familiar with the person you were speaking of, so
No, you don't have to be. You don't have to be. We're talking in general. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
based on the topic, I missed everything. So you have to give me a little synopsis.
No, this is absolutely take us way over time again. You don't like us anymore. You try and you just,
Let me let me join next week at a better time.
oh yeah, I know your time difference is I know you have a time difference, yeah, because your time there now is what's your time now? Three you was 120 133
No,
Camille is
I'm
there in
at
Calgary.
12:33.
12:33 yeah 2 hours yes. Camille
Yes.
He didn't do
12:33
math.
right
He
now.
didn't do maths, Camille. He did mathematics.
I did math, but the problem was boy boy that was a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, all the bad boy, all the bad. I went to school long, but not regular.
Very, very well.
You
Very well.
understand?
Yes.
I still long not to learn anything. But
I'm
Yes,
kind of
but
worried about what you took in.
Camille,
uh,
what can I take if you go to school when the bell ring every time?
Camille,
Every time
can't
I go
you,
to school, the bell ringing.
Camille, can't, he can't figure it. Can't you see holes?
No, Garvie, every time I shopping class, they ring the bell. So I'll go back out.
That's,
So
it's, you
I
notice,
never figured it out. I
so
never figured it out.
you got it, Camille? Break time was his favorite time at school.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So
Oh, my Lord.
anybody ask him, all what's your favorite subject? Break. Okay?
Camille,
Recess.
Yeah.
no, recess, you don't get a break from it. It's recess. But break time. Recess.
Yes.
Okay.
I learned
Um,
to spell the word recess when I was, what, 11, 12. Anyway,
Wow.
yes.
that's another.
It's a throwback word,
Yeah,
definitely.
of course, yeah. Yeah, when I hear recess, you think of tamarind ball and sugar cake.
I
Anyway,
know.
but
Of course.
guys,
And
oh
those
my,
treats you used to sell every time you came up to see us in the city, Earl.
oh, Camille, don't get me started though, man.
Do
But he said,
I want
but
to
he said,
ever?
Camille, at
he
10 o'clock next week, Wednesday, you gotta be tuned in, man. 10 o'clock. That's our time, midnight. 10
Okay.
o'clock. But it's so nice to see, man. You get better looking. I'm really proud of you.
Why, thank you, darling.
come,
Even with the tiredness,
accept the compliment to Camille.
I accept it 100%.
Garvie,
Very
when you
well.
see Camille well dressed, Camille dressing her.
Come,
Oh boy. Yeah.
she's looking coscopetical and unhorizontal.
Now you're sending me to the dictionary, the urban one.
You would never find those words, okay?
Notice I said the urban dictionary.
No. Not neither the Oxford nor the Roberts Collins or Urban you would find those words, okay?
Uh, guys,
Right. They can either mean beautiful or delicious, okay?
Oh my.
Camille, Garvie, and Camille, good morning.
Good morning to you,
Good
my
morning,
brother.
gentlemen.
Camille, I'm
Morning,
so happy that
Camille.
you
It's a
graced
pleasure
our
meeting
program
you.
with your face.
You as
And
well.
next
I
week,
hope we
man,
can get to chat next week, God's
oh,
willing.
oh
Yes,
yes.
Yes.
and we shall continue this lively debate and this lively
Yeah.
discussion
For
on
Yes.
the death
sure. For sure.
the untimely death and unfortunate demise of a 7-year-old child in our beloved country, St. Vincent and the
Oh
Grenadines.
my. Oh
Yes,
Yeah.
dear.
something that should not have happened.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
as we are only we haven't we are speaking as experts here because everything seems somewhat tight-lipped. We don't want to rely on he said or she said. You understand? We are doing our best to put the puzzle together. Because when I came on, I told George asked whose responsibilities it is. And I said that the four agents of socialization have failed this 7-year-old child. So everybody, all of us are to be blamed for his untimely death.
Parents,
But
community, and
yes,
government.
there warrant a a a, a thorough investigation, and at least when this investigation has concluded,
Mm-hmm.
there ought to be a public apology. There ought to be, because
Hmm.
this has caused and created an embarrassment on all of us.
Gabby, so with that synopsis, coming next week, you have a springboard, right? And we
For
have
sure.
another exciting topic next week. Oh, this is one not really exciting. This one is serious.
Yes.
Next week we
Camille,
have a topic that will, yeah,
Camille, could you imagine I had to pay just to get in here?
yeah. Usually we don't
When it
charge,
comes
but
to old George, absolutely, I can believe that.
it's just
He
a
he
dollar, man. It's just a dollar he has
he
to
is
pay.
he is a born extortionist.
businessman, I like to call him,
But do not spread rumors on me. Camille is it totally free? We do not charge anything. That's it. Garvey, do not spread false rumors on this program.
I'm challenging you to sue me.
Camille, do you want a case?
We going there again?
No, not you. No, it's okay. Garvey will give a story after we get up. Like, not
Okay,
you. No, it's okay.
which case you after Camille if you want?
No,
A juicy
I'll
case?
brief you after. No, it's okay. I'll brief you after.
Very well.
We can't see this on camera.
Right. Yes.
I want no
But
haircut, I want no case. Anyway,
yeah.
so Garvey, good morning. We all the time. We're way all the time. So
Yes.
you come here. It's up, man. Next week will be really better, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
make sure you
You
send
organize?
ahead of time the topic.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
for us
don't
to be
worry,
Absolutely.
don't worry.
prepared.
Don't
Yes.
worry.
And we'll talk.
Don't
To be
worry.
continued. Okay?
Alrighty.
Au
Gentlemen,
Have a
revoir.
good
Sylvester
morning,
joining.
gentlemen.
Good morning. Good
You
morning,
too,
Calvin. Good
Camille.
morning,
Au
Alberta.
revoir. Bonsoir.
Good morning, Sylvester.
No, I'm
Bonsoir.
on the other side. I'm on the other side.
Garvey,
Okay.
Garvey, she's English, so
Okay. Well, let me
yeah.
speak. Morning, Camille.
No, you
Garvey,
have to say howdy.
Garvey,
Very good.
English.
Okay.
Not,
Good
How
morning.
town.
not,
Let me put my tongue between my teeth. Good
and say
morning,
soup.
Camille.
Bye, guys. Camille, good morning. Good morning, Garvey.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
everybody.
Take care.
Thank you guys for
Blessings.
All right,
tuning in.
take care, guys.
And
All the
tomorrow,
best.
have a great day today.
All right.
Oh, folks, this has been Heart to Heart program. So please join me next week, Wednesday at midnight for another Heart to Heart program. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we hope that next week you'll come with your views. Joshua, thank you. Camille, Joycelyn, and everybody, Ronald, who joined us. We appreciate your presence. Monty, thanks again, Be Hill Network, for the service. We really do appreciate it. Thanks again to everyone, and have a wonderful day today.